Diamond Jubilee celebration took place June 2012, marking 60 years of the Queen's reign. Tens of thousands flocked the streets to attend the various events across the UK to mark the occasion. For many, this is an historic occasion worthy of praise and celebration. To others, it is simply another weekend. To hear what people really think, I've hit the streets of London to find out.
We're here, we're going to Battersea Park tomorrow, and we're hoping to get some of the procession in as well and watch the fly past. We're down for the whole bank holiday weekend.
And are you a fan of the Queen?
Fan's a bit strong, but yeah, I like the Queen. I'm glad we've got a Queen.
And anything else you want to add?
I'm glad the sun's come out. I hope it stays.
Excellent.
But I doubt it will. It's a British bank holiday after all.
And guess what? In true British bank holiday style, it did rain. Will you be celebrating the Queen's Jubilee?
Not really. We had a little celebration yesterday, but it was more of a community thing, just like a street party. It was for the Jubilee, but it was more, like I said, more about the community spirit, everyone getting together, celebrating, having a good time.
Does the Queen herself mean anything to you?
I see her as more, obviously I understand her importance, but more of just like a figurehead for the country rather than someone of like a great deal of importance.
I feel really patriotic actually being in London this weekend. I don't have any views towards the monarchy. I don't hate the monarchy. I do question why we have a monarchy. And I won't be celebrating at all.
I think that she's very important, and like she doesn't do much, but like things like she passes on laws, and since she's been the Queen, she's done a lot of good things for us.
Are you doing anything special for the Queen's Jubilee?
We're here. we're going to sleep here on the pavement at the side of the river, so we get a good view tomorrow.
Tell me more about what the Queen means to you and why this is such a special occasion.
She's good for the country. She brings money in, even though people do moan about it. But on the whole, yes, we're very patriotic.
We just love having her as a figurehead, and we've been to the Golden, the Silver Jubilee festivals.
We went to the wedding.
Went to the wedding, slept on the Mall on the posh red tarmac.
It's just England, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, it makes you very proud and patriotic, and you get a big thump here when you're doing it, and everything's...
And it brings a tear to the eye.
Yeah, it does. I feel very emotional.
Excellent. And what would you tell to those who are not so patriotic and are not going to be celebrating this weekend?
Get alive.
Well, we can't...
Get alive.
You can't convert people, but they just don't know what they're missing, that's all, and it's sad. It's sad, really.
Basically, I'm not in favour of having the Queen as a monarch, since I think it represents privilege that's unearned, undeserved, has no merit to it, and the fact that the Queen's at the top of society means that that's the example that we have at the top of our society is of one of unequalness. That carries on all the way through society, so it legitimises inequality and unfairness, I think. Having said that, on the actual day when I was not into it and all of those things, I heard somebody on the radio saying how wonderful it was that everybody was brought together, so I accept that, and I like that idea of people talking that don't normally talk and all that kind of thing. But as a general thing, I think it's, along with private schools, public schools, don't get me started on them, but all of those things, they're just a way of corralling privilege for future generations. That's what I think.
celebrate in the Diamond Jubilee?
No.
And why not? What's your views on the Queen?
Because I don't care. I don't business about the Queen.
Well, I was silly enough to camp out for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and I got very wet indeed, but it was absolutely fantastic, and I thought it was an absolutely fantastic occasion as well. 1.2 million people turned out on the Sunday for the flotilla, even though it was pouring with rain. Then we had the great concert on Monday night, and then on Tuesday we had the Thanksgiving service and the balcony appearance, which 1.5 million people turned out to. So as you can see, I'm a great lover of the monarchy, I'm a great lover of Elizabeth II, Her Majesty the Queen, and I think it's absolutely fantastic that the British people really got together and got together in a national celebration to say thank you to Elizabeth II and to just have a great party. I think it was a huge success for the country.
As head of the Commonwealth, the Queen currently heads 54 countries across the globe. For some, this is simply a legacy of Britain's colonial empire. What's your personal view of the monarchy?
You know what? It's funny. It's interesting you say that because you know, if you take on an identity of being a British black-born person or something, or any kind of description in that respect, I say you have to think about relationships. And what relationship do I have with this country? You know, somebody that's kind of born and bred here, and then even more extended out, what relationship do I have with the Queen? I mean, there is no relationship. I don't know this woman, and I think we live in a world or society that kind of promotes people based on image. But I want to know about this woman's character, and that never comes through in terms of what you see in the media report. So is she a kind or compassionate person? All these things are kind of irrelevant. I mean, she is so distant from me, it's unbelievable. And even if you grow up in a Caribbean kind of background, because, you know, we were colonized by the British and stuff like that, and you're walking in the Caribbean home in the 60s and 70s, you have a white Jesus on the wall and a picture of the Queen and her family. And even that was bizarre to me because I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see how this woman connects to who you are. And then if you go into the historical basis, that destroys the argument straight away. I don't think any person of African descent really should be supporting the monarchy in relation to their historical relationship with us. So within that, it's just like, you know, I don't get it, to be honest with you. This woman is like, you know, she ain't gonna give back none of the millions she kind of like fleeced out of the Caribbean islands or fleeced out of Africa or anything like that. She's never gonna give that back. And that would be a gesture at this point anyway. It wouldn't actually be anything of any significance.
The one Queen right now have trillions of money. She can afford to feed everybody in the whole world and still have trillions. You know what I say? And me don't see where she do for anybody, any of our subjects in England or the Commonwealth. Archado, see the job here? See the job here, star? See where she get all her money for?
Yeah.
Britain is currently going through its first double-dip recession since 1975 and its largest economic slump for a century. With high unemployment and significant cuts in the health and teaching sectors, I wanted to find out how people felt about the amount being spent for the Jubilee.
Well, I think given the things they've taken away from other sectors, then I don't think you can justify it. I'd rather see it spent on keeping decent provision for old people, which has been cut, just keeping all the kind of social services and things open that have been cut. I would happily take all of that money and all the security money that goes with it and not have the Jubilee. I'm sure the Queen could have enjoyed herself on her own with that amount of money being spent, and have it, I mean, I've got friends in Somerset. I went down there and the county council have cut the complete arts budget for the whole county. They haven't cut it a bit, they're zero. So there's no more. So that means, that doesn't just mean there's no arty-farty stuff, that means that like special needs kids don't get music groups, they don't get art groups, they don't get singing. And the same, there's things down there called, I think it's Singing for the Brain or something like that for people with Alzheimer's as well. I have a friend who works in that and that's been cut, you know. Completely cut, there's no funding for it. So I just think once again that's an example of the complete inequality of it, you know.
Yes, you should remember that lots of tourists came for the Jubilee, particularly Americans who love the royal family. It seems almost as much as we do. All the hotels in London were full out, and people came to Britain because it was Britain on the international stage. Another thing to remember is things like the flotilla and the concert were privately funded. They weren't funded by the state. And that's unbelievable that people were willing to pay for this for the Queen. I think if we had a republic, people wouldn't be willing to pay for David Cameron's flotilla, but because it's the Queen, people are happy to pay for it, and I think that's fantastic. So a lot of it was private, very little out of the public purse at all, and I think that's great.
Well, I think it's probably a comparatively small amount of money to spend. Many of the people are there anyway, so it's just them doing something different than they would have been doing. And it attracts a lot of interest, and people come into the City of London and spend money, and good for tourism, and so I think it's probably worth it.
Well, that concludes my findings in London. It seems like the debate will be ongoing. To have your say, add your view in the comment box below.
As far as I see, the Queen does a business around people. Much less me, you don't know black in the Union Jack, but she don't even care about our own people. All she going to do is, that's her job. That's what she's going to get paid for. You get me?
Long live the Queen!
Long live the Queen!
Have you got any flags to wave?
Oh, we're here in another 10 years!
Yes.